Hello, everyone. On today's show, we're going to talk about some World Cup and local football, soccer. We're going to talk about NBA Summer League and the Nuggets, and we're also going to hit Broncos training camp. So stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rockies swinging bats, ready for on gameplay. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Chris and JT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. It's a meta play.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mile High Sports Symposium. I am one of your hosts, JT Matthews, here with a co-host, Chris Whitwright, and my other co-host, the Doctor, Nicholas Manning. Guys, how we doing today? How we feeling? Happy Wednesday. It's a good day to be alive.
It is indeed. So we always lead off with like Nick having a doctorate, and he has absolutely earned that. But I think the public needs to know that I do hold a bartending degree. So
there you go.
In case you're curious.
Let's dive in. Let's dive into that. Okay, hold on real quick. So I'm glad you opened it.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
So like when they went at bartending school, okay. What?
Hey, it was 2 weeks.
That's actually longer than I thought.
It wasn't an online course.
No, it was not.
No, that was because you got that. That had to be in person. Yeah, you gotta shake and was there like sales stuff in there? Like how do you get people hooked on it?
No, but they did promise me to hook me up with a catering job that never surmised of anything. So it may have been a scam.
Oof, what? Well,
May have been.
you still know, like, you still got some drinks on lock?
Yeah, I still have like my bartending like book or manual that they give you with all the drinks in it. So
yeah, we need when we connect, we gotta.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
maybe that'll be like our just bring that.
Fantasy draft bartending, Chris.
There you go.
I like that. Hey, you know what? Today the day was I didn't know what to expect from today, guys. I didn't know. But you know what? It is brighter. It is
right. Absolutely.
It is phenomenal. Not that anyone cared, but I got my new phone back. I got a new phone.
Nice.
The other phone had crashed, so I was using the old Note 10. For those who aren't Galaxy users, Galaxy operating Samsungs are on S26. So that's where they're at. My backup phone is a 10. You can see the generational gap here. And
there's a hand
essentially
crank.
It was a brick. I was Flintstone pedaling, man. It was like and so I'm up on it now, and it's weird because like I send things and it goes, and I have to like move it and stuff, like make sure. So that's good. And then going to the Rapids game tonight after watching the Rockies on Monday. Our family got 2 baseballs on Monday at the Rockies game. Yeah, there
was only 4
the line guy. The line guy. No, I mean it was pretty good, but we got 2. We have 4 kids. We had 2. You can figure out how that went, but it was cool nonetheless. It's cool nonetheless.
Sure, there was no competition.
Right.
No, there was no tears about what we did and didn't get. Yeah, for sure.
Somehow you ended up with 2 baseballs for yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They were taken.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
That's too.
Well, let's segue to some sports talk. And I'm going to give the floor to Chris. He's going to talk about the summit and a special debut.
Yeah, so Nick and I talked last week about Lindsay Heaps. What a big deal it was. Well, she finally had her debut this weekend. They won 2-1 against the Thorns. Lindsay Heaps was playing that center mid role, and she got an assist. So again, good for the Summit getting a primetime player on the roster. Again, very exciting that she hit the ground running. So
Yep.
it was good. So yeah,
Yeah,
nothing
I mean,
too exciting. Just we needed to mention that she actually did make her debut.
For sure.
And if you didn't know who she was, in terms of like that, she was a new player. I thought she meshed well. I thought that the attack flow with her in it, I thought that was good. She'd been practicing for a while, so I'm not totally shocked. But you never know. Sometimes mid-season additions, no matter how good they are, it's still a team sport. Ask Argentina. So anyway, it's super dope. Again, it's so cool to get. When we were talking about it last week, JT, it's like, kind of. I don't know if I go all the way to level, but it's kind of like your expansion Avalanche.
Yeah.
Even though they were already a team, but like they
sure
traded for Patrick Waugh, right? Like, holy crap! Like you got
a legit player,
someone a legit, still in prime, like balling. And so that's just super cool, and to capitalize on the momentum of having a professional women's team here when we've been, asking for a WNBA team. It's like we have a pretty strong, I think, fan base for that, and then to have that be in the first year, I just thought that was just well done. And it was the first game at the temporary new stadium, the new temporary stadium, which I thought that was cool. I mean, it was just they're doing a good job, and it was a fun match to watch, and I thought the team played well. I thought she fit in. It was just super dope.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was an upset win too. That a team that was expected to win in Portland. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff overall. Always like to see a hometown kid sowing their oats locally. It's always fun thing. So want to talk a little bit of World Cup, Spain v Argentina.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to start with the third place game because that was the more entertaining game.
For sure.
So 6-4 to England. First half, England looked like they were just going to beat their butts, just left, right, center. They were up 4-0 at half, and the French team couldn't keep possession, couldn't get Mbappe chances. They were struggling, and you could just see because France had rotated a little of their center backs and their midfielders, and really they were struggling. You could tell that these guys had not played together very much, and so they were struggling defensively and just to keep the ball. So England was getting them pretty good. And then at half, the French manager, this is going to actually be his last game, was like, all right, I'm not going out like this. And made a whole bunch of switches at half to get players actually in the places that they had been playing before. And again, they almost came back and won the thing 6-4. They were down 5-4. And then Tuchel, the beleaguered English manager, was like, oh wait, I can't go out like this either. So get Jude Bellingham back in there, and he scores a goal, so it ends up 6-4. Immensely entertaining game, lots of scoring. Very fun match. The soccer wasn't the best, especially in the first half, where it was one person one team just dominating the other. But but still good match. The finals, Spain versus Argentina, 1-0. Man, Spain certainly had their chances to really dominate that game and just couldn't connect until extra time. So good for Spain for winning it all. And shout out to the Argentine goalie, Emilio Martinez, saved the most ever in a World Cup final. So he was on point until the extra time. So just kind of
at some point, right? That's help. He's just taking the shots. He was staying on his dome and then some. That would have been really interesting if they would have, Spain, who has been the best team throughout, right? I mean, was it one goal given up? Just their defense is phenomenal. And if they would have played into the stoppage time or the extra time, and you lose, right? Like on a fluke goal or something. Like I couldn't. Oh my goodness gracious! But I thought the best team won.
Yep.
And I thought that was pretty evident after the match when there were some extracurriculars.
It turns out the Argentine players are not the best people. So
apparently, as I did some research, they're not. It's not a great history.
No.
Of stuff. We won't go into the things, but feel free to check.
Google on your own time. It's not a pretty picture.
It's not great. But you know what? I bet Messi is I bet he's a wonderful, wonderful dude, because why not, right? But hey, in the end, you put a cap on it. It was phenomenal from start to finish.
Yep.
Yeah, the world's best player playing for back-to-back, like you couldn't have asked to set things up, the best team against the best player, all that kind of stuff.
It was good.
Into, the final minutes of and in a country that I thought the U.S. did a good job of embracing the game. I think there was 66 million watched the final in America, which, I think it's probably a non-American football NFL high ever outside of the Super Bowl, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to watch us all kind of embrace it, especially when your team isn't in it. It all sounds cool when it's this American-led thing or that kind of stuff. But when there was no real specific rooting interest or all a unified rooting interest, the fact that many Americans were watching a game that didn't involve America, I just thought that was pretty dope. And then the last thing I'll say is leave the grass on the fields, people.
Yeah, 100%. Like if we can figure this out for soccer, we should be able to figure this out for football. So
we can figure it out. It's just they don't want to be.
They want to pay for it. I know.
Pay for it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
By the way, the one team that Spain did not beat in the World Cup, your Cape Verde, flying swimming sharks, flying blue swimming sharks of justice.
4-year-old goalie, Stan Dome.
So anyway,
it's hard to beat a superhero when their cape's on.
Absolutely. So, all right, we're going to transition into some Denver Nuggets chatter. The Summer League just wrapped, so we are going to just get into it. JT, what you got for us, bud?
Yeah, man. So Nuggets played a total of 5 games in Summer League, ended with a 3-2 record, did not qualify to play for the Summer League championship. Though, this run for them was a lot better than it had been in the past. A lot of times you get losing records with those teams. The development hasn't been great. Roster construction has been interesting. This year they kind of focused on athletic body types, older players that could come in and contribute right away. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch at points. Obviously it's all Summer League at some point. The names aren't blockbuster names that you're tuning in to see, but you're coming in to see your guys. And I think that the Nuggets guys showed up and did what you wanted them to do. Obviously, Brazile had a third. I think he scored 32 in one of the games. He just shot 5 of 10 from 3-point range. Looked athletic, attacked well. Did a little bit off the dribble, which I wasn't really expecting him to do much off the dribble. Had one specific layup against, I think it was Portland. When they played, it was either Portland or I don't know. There's a team with a 7-footer where he kind of dribbled it, got a nice little layup, contested around the rim. So saw a little bit of creation from him, which I wasn't necessarily expecting to see, which was good. Hopkins looked good, especially in his first game. Shot the ball well, was aggressive. Gets downhill. He's kind of a guy that he is comfortable with his skill set, is pretty set to be a role player, I think, at some point in the league, if he can kind of keep up athletically. He's not the most athletic guy, but I wouldn't say he plays below the rim either. He's just, I would say, an average NBA athlete, which I think is good enough for his skill set. Physical, though, love that he comes downhill, love that he tries to ram it down guys' throats. Had this nice little move where he got a smaller guy on him, but he picked up the ball in the post, kind of froze him for a second. He ended up putting a shoulder into him, getting a nice little bucket through some contact. Didn't get a foul call, but created space to get a shot up. So just like savvy veteran play. KJ Simpson looked good as a point guard potentially. Has some turnover question marks. He's not the most sound with the ball all the time, but he is a scorer. He can score. He can score in bunches. If you need someone to take a little pressure off of the offense, if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, he can kind of create a little bit on his own. Can
I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Do we expect any of these guys to make an impact in the rotation? Or are any of these guys going to beat out like Diallo or Tyus Jones or any of those guys like at the 9, 10, 11 spot for this team?
I mean, I don't anticipate, I think that Brazile's got the best potential just because of where the team's at from a roster fit perspective. Aaron Gordon, obviously they need some sort of backup for him, especially if Peyton Watson's not going to come back. There is a lack of athleticism on this team, and I think they're trying to fill in, a guy that can play at 5 if you need him to. I think Brazile's listed as 6'10", so he may be a little bit small. But given some matchups, he match up just fine. But I think, you like a guy that can play 4 and 5. If Jokic is out and you need a small lineup, you can throw him in there instead of Aaron Gordon having to shoulder that all the time. And he's also just, if he can get kind of more a kind of off-ball feel for the game. I feel like when he had the ball in his hands, he looked really good. It's more about it's going to be, and I think Cam Johnson saw this even as a pretty savvy vet, coming into a Nikola Jokic offense, trying to find your spots and pick and choose is a little bit tricky. I think we've kind of seen that with Christian Braun too over the years, just trying to find when should I drive, when do I need to pop, those sorts of things. So It'll take some time, I think, for whomever gets injected into the lineup this year. But I think that he's probably got the best shot. Otherwise, we're looking at probably depth guys.
Okay.
Could KJ push Tyus Jones? I don't think it's out of the question just because Tyus Jones is more of your what do they call him? Journeyman type,
Sure.
Probably towards the back of his career. So if KJ comes out and really surprises people, shoots the ball well or something potentially, but I wouldn't anticipate that.
Yeah, I would think Tyus Jones is probably your more traditional point guard who's maybe not going to turn the ball over. He may not give you anything other than not turning the ball over offensively, but which is something we certainly struggled with this season is turning the ball over.
We're just going to put him out there because he won't give the ball away.
Wow.
You're not wrong. Like, that is, you're not wrong. That isn't a slight on your analysis of that's where we're at. It's like, well, he dribbled down the court and not throw it to another.
He won't actively kick it up and kick the ball out.
Yeah. I don't know. I think KJ, to be honest with you, if Tyus Jones was a guy that they thought something highly of, he would have played at some point.
Yeah,
towards the end of the year last year. I mean, he didn't really even get much PT when they were on that run against the JV squad of every other team. So I think KJ brings, he's 6'2", he brings a little bit more size. He showed he can handle it. And I think, continue with the youth, the 2-way contract. I think that they'll probably play that out. You got Tyus on the min. So I think it gives you the depth there. I really liked what I saw from the team in the summer league. I think a couple of things were interesting. Is there was a few undrafted free agents that I thought showed well. I thought Mark Sears showed well. He doesn't bring much in size. Essentially, he's like Tyus Jones. So it's a little bit of if you think that guy will give you enough. One thing I was interested about because he didn't get much run was Aaron Necroma. Is that right?
Necroma.
Yeah. Size and those kind of things. I thought that was interesting that he he really didn't get much. He didn't show a ton of attack, but he didn't really get many minutes. And I thought that they looked a lot of guys that I think had played before. KJ Simpson this isn't the first summer league he's been in. So some things like that I thought were a little weird. I was overly impressed with Brazile and really Hopkins. I think Hopkins showed, in my opinion, he could be a 10 to 12 minute contributor pretty soon because I think he does a lot of the things that we need done. It's what made Christian Braun really great his rookie year. when Peyton Watson is on, those are the stuff that he does. And then when you add the offensive talent, like that's what makes him special. When he just tries to shoot corner threes and be tall, like, and he loses the grit, that's when he's Michael Porter Jr. And so I think a guy like Hopkins, I think that keeps a little bit of edge. Trevon Brazile, I thought, I mean, it was 2 outings, but good gracious. He didn't look like the guy that I had heard about. In essence, the knock on him was his problem is upstairs. And not that he's dumb, but he just doesn't have a feel yet for basketball. I think we've talked ad nauseum about his physical capabilities, right? Like just what percentile of athlete is he? I mean, he's explosion if explosion were a person. And he's still recovering, like, he's had an ACL injury and he still has a 41-inch vert. Like that's just people get built like that in the lab. There's a reason why he fell, being 23 years old. Who knows all those things? But maybe he wasn't an alpha in that locker room because they had 2 guys that got drafted before him. Who knows? There's a whole bunch of of things that I don't know because we're in there. But I thought his attention to the game was on point. I thought he looked involved. I think he looked focused. There wasn't a couple plays where I would have been like, what are you doing? I expected to see that a bunch. Is that going to translate? No, not necessarily, but it's a positive because I would have expected it. I didn't see it. So maybe there's a quicker route for him to make an impact within reason. Because to be honest, if he's getting big minutes and Hopkins getting big minutes, something is wrong. Watson's not there. Gordon's hurt. There's some things that I think I don't want them to be the 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th best player on the team right now and getting a ton of minutes, because that means that something's not good.
Well, I think so. I'm going to push back a little bit on that because I think getting Brazile in early and at least seeing what he has is important. So we don't go with another. We don't really know what we have in this guy, Zignaji, Deron Holmes type of route with these guys. I'm sick of it. Either they can play or they can't, and if they can't, then that's fine. Let's move along with life. But I'd like to find that out earlier than later. Is my only point.
I would too. Just with intention. Like,
no question.
What are they? Yeah. What do they do well? Obviously, like, we want you to have this focus, man. You got to protect the rim. And then you got to be active on offense. However,
run the floor.
Watch her run the floor. And it's like, hey, you do that, then we'll start chipping away at some of the sets and getting you some different looks. Like, I think we need him on the floor for a team that doesn't have athleticism. It would be really dumb to then draft good athletes and then you leave them on the bench and you're like, well, they give us. I mean, Bagley is a better athlete. They've done small things. Diallo is a better athlete. They've done some things to make themselves more athletic. Now, it's on Adelman to say, all right, we've given you a little bit, man. Like, you can't keep going to the well. And for a guy that wants to play small ball, I think that gives a little mix and match. And so I'm excited. Like, I feel better about the draft picks themselves and even some of the route that they took to get there. We all talked a little bit about, like, man, like, this draft class looks really, really good. What a year to not pick in the first round. By choice even. So it is what it is, but hey, you know what? At least when they took a couple swings so far. I mean, we only know what we know so far. They got some guys that look pretty good. They got some undrafted guys that I think, made a guy like Pickett expendable, which we all thought, Jalen Pickett could have been, a little bit more here. And I think you're bringing in guys who are on a cheaper deal. It's good churn. And I think at least they're on a good path. Now we just got to see what's up with Peyton Watson and whether or not they're willing to go into it. I did find out, which I thought was really cool, that the second apron tax doesn't hit until the end of the season.
Okay.
So you can be over the second apron until the last game of the season and then get under it. I don't know how that would work, obviously with the trade deadline, but they go all in. And then at the trade line, if they're not where they want to be or what have you, they can dip. And then that repeater tax doesn't hit if they are under the second apron by the end of the year. So I thought that was really cool. And maybe that says a little bit about why there hasn't been such an urgency to do some stuff. Because they know, if guys play well-ish and we're in the hunt, hey, let's go for it. If guys don't play well or play well and we're not in the hunt, we have some options with that flexibility. So I thought that was a good clarification. gives me a little bit more hope that maybe those guys know what they're doing in there, which they know way better than I do for sure. But
all right, any final thoughts on Summer League? Let's wrap Summer League real quick. JT?
Yeah. I just want to give some love to some guys that I thought played well, but maybe didn't get as much run. One is Coleman Hawkins. He didn't play very much. He played it in the last game quite a bit. 6'10" guy, can shoot the ball really well. Solid defensively, has some rim protection chops. And had a triple-double last year in the G League, 14, 15, and 11. So he's got a pretty well-rounded skill set. I think the question's more about
the 11. Was that assists or was that blocks?
11 was assists.
It was assist guy. I mean, he's 6'10". You never know.
Uh-huh.
That's the only reason why I would have to ask.
For sure. So he had a really good last game. I'm not sure why he never cracked kind of that initial roster group. I don't know if maybe it's an X's and O's thing. Maybe it's I don't know if they're planning on having him around long term or not. But I thought he played well in that last game and kind of opened my eyes a little bit to who he was. Undrafted guy. I don't know how to say his name, so I'm gonna. Osifo is the last name. Osifo. Is number 34. He's a power forward out of Jacksonville. And in the first game, he had played 7 minutes. It was a plus 17 or something like plus 19 maybe. He came in and was a spark plug for them. He's really stout. I think there's worries about his ability to score anywhere besides under the rim, though. So, he's one of those athletic, stout, good defender, but may not have much offensive upside. So I think that's the worry there. And then I liked Duran Giroux. I don't know if other people liked him. He reminded me a lot of Corey Brewer, Nuggets old.
Yeah.
And he's 6'5". He's a guard. He just long-limbed, real slight, but knows how to use his body. He knows how to use his length. Was getting into passing lanes, deflecting passes. So I thought that those guys were worthy of, at least a second look by some of these other teams around. But I think maybe the biggest takeaway from Summer League will be JJ Barea at coach. I think he got some ability to get in there, drop some plays, had those guys playing pretty well overall on both sides of the ball. I think it was probably good experience for him to kind of even, on a Summer League squad, just kind of take the reins and get comfortable with that role. I think players becoming coaches can sometimes be seamless, but sometimes it's a little clunky. And we had 2 of those last year with Dudley and Barea. So I think the more that we can kind of get them, out there and comfortable with calling the shots and making those game time decisions, it's probably better for the team. So overall, I think it was a successful Summer League, and Nuggets have at least some young guys to look forward to cultivating a little bit.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's get to our ad break, and then we're going to talk Broncos on the other side.
Let's go.
Let's do it. So, sometimes you got to appreciate all the things. So first and foremost, go, baby.
Oh.
Technology.
Here it is. Oh, okay.
There we go. Yeah.
W.
Hey, I need some right now, actually.
W.
Make sure you go get yourself some Dubby. Okay. So if you need a little pick-me-up, has caffeine, all of the good stuff to get you going. You are parents like us and are super tired all the time. No sugar, no calories, no stuff you can't pronounce. Again, if you can't pronounce it, don't put it in your butt. With that,
yes, there are a number of shows you can tune into on the network. Mostly Broncos focused, but lots of Broncos news will be coming up very soon here with camp just right around the corner. So Mondays and Fridays at 11, you have Orange and Blue Blitz. Broncos Bros Mondays at 7 p.m. Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Wednesdays at 2:30-ish p.m. You have us, the Mile High Sports Symposium. Wednesdays at 6, Broncos Talk. Thursdays at 7 p.m., Mile High Outcasts. Spanish-speaking Broncos show on the network. Viva Las Broncos. Fridays at 6 p.m. Then you have breaking news, pregame, play-by-play, postgame, and every game day. Fresh Squeeze, Get Buck, the Bucking Booth, and Buck Your Feelings. So Broncos coverage around the clock every day of the week, and we're bringing it to you here on the network. So make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things. Do we still have the giveaway going on?
We still have a giveaway going on.
Yeah. So with that, hit it.
Oh, you want me to hit it?
So
okay.
when we reach 1,000 subs on YouTube, so again, go like, subscribe, all the stuff for the rhythm. Giving out a Nick Bonito mini helmet signed by that dude. So to be able to be in for the raffle, you got to go be a subscriber. Go do the things. And before you do that, though, go get your haircut, because you know what? If you don't, this is what will happen to you. You can't see it because I won't put on the screen. But go check it out. Thornton, one of the best tons in Colorado. I forgot to tell you too. You get a promo code from us, OBN10 for the W. Can't ever forget that. Orange Blue Network 10%, or Bounty X 10. Because number 10. Now back to regular schedule.
Oh, sorry. Real quick before we leave the ad break, your profile has to be public on YouTube when you subscribe. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to find you to let you know you won. So make sure your profile is public.
Yep. Yeah. Good call.
Good call.
Appreciate that. All right. So, now,
all right.
Foosball, Bobby.
Let's talk Broncos.
Training camp.
American football. We got to be a little more specified now because
no, not anymore.
The World's game.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares anymore. World Cup's gone. I'm kidding. I mean, go support your local soccer clubs.
Yeah, but you said soccer, so here we're back. We're back.
So what? Camp opens. The rookies report today. Is that accurate?
Rookies report today. Yep. The vets report next Wednesday, and then the first practice to the public is the 29th,
31st.
31st. So you can do the math. Well, I'm not going to do it for you because you're all smart people. At a couple days, so we are there. We are there. That's true. Yep. So, few things. Let's maybe just gather up where things are at. So maybe the most uncomfortable topic, real quick, is Jonathan Cooper still on the team. I think there was a real big push and assumption that he would not be. I think the longer that he has not went to jail again, the better for him. And so, no news is always good news when it comes to these kind of things. I think he may, depending on how things turn, have continued to keep himself in an orange jersey. You shall see. But no news there. And I think that's why the Broncos also haven't made a corresponding move to bring in a vet or anything like that. I think that wouldn't happen until something final with Coop happens. So
I think, real quick, the trial that they were going to do, there's a preliminary trial, that happens Friday, but they think, or Kliss was reporting that they don't think the trial is going to be heard this year. It's going to be next year. So I think I think we can safely assume Jonathan Cooper is going to be on the team.
Yeah. Well, one, he'll be suspended for sure. And then two, I think it depends for them. I mean, if he's suspended, then he doesn't sit, or you put him on the exempt, doesn't count against your salary cap, then you kind of do what you want. I think if he comes back, depending on how they feel about the case, and then it's just really, what's the juice versus squeeze? How good is the player? How big is the drama? And which one outweighs it?
I think we can safely assume he's going to. My expectation is that he plays and starts. Yeah. So until further notice.
Well, I think he'll be suspended. So I think he'll.
See, and they waited till the Rashid Rice case was heard and tried, and then suspended him. I mean, it took a year.
You know what?
To suspend him. So,
you know what? I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. If that's the case, it'll be interesting. Do you think he's out there day one of camp?
I would expect him to be. I mean, unless the Broncos have told him to stay away from the team, I would expect him to be out there because they haven't announced whether he's gone on the NFI list or anything like that. So
they asked him to not be around for the rest of OTAs, but that's OTAs. That's not camp. So
right.
It's interesting. Okay. So you think?
I would expect him to be out there at camp. Now, whether he, whether they're like, he's got a hamstring strain or whatever the hell it is to kind of limit his visibility. That may happen, but I expect him to be there. So again, until the legal system plays out, I don't know that we can throw too much at it. So I expect him to be there. Is long and the short of it. So until further notice. Thoughts, conclusions?
Yeah, I was looking to see if there had been anything recently, and nothing since they said that the trial would be delayed. So yeah, I mean, like Chris said, I think as long as that all still is going through the legal process, I think they tend to, especially nowadays, tend to kind of let that all run its course.
Yep.
So I would expect that he'd be out there at some point. Again, is that beginning of camp? Maybe not. Maybe let camp get going and then just kind of integrate him in, see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know what the right move is per se, but I think, the legal process is there for a reason. So until that all goes through, then, the ownership has to make that decision. But we haven't heard anything otherwise. So I would assume he'll probably be out there at least getting some reps at some point.
Yeah. You know what? You guys
what is that?
Me.
Position battle.
Do we want to stay at linebacker and just kind of go inside instead of outside?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think our starting linebackers are going to be Stranud and Strood and Strusnod, whatever, and Alex Singleton. So I expect those guys to be out there to start. There is a lot of consternation around Alex Singleton. I think a lot of fans were unhappy that he was back and that no real upgrade was made to that position. So what do y'all think?
Yeah, well, I think fans we're smart, but individually, but sometimes together we're dumb. I think what Justin and Alex brought. So two things. One, to give Strnad his due, to be able to kind of be, your career gets offset by an injury. You're supposed to be this magnificent line, coverage backer coming in, and then you get, you kind of get demoted on multiple occasions when and if it's deserved or all those things. But then to come back, take a risk, bet on yourself, play pretty well, and then to get better, right? So you played pretty well the year before, and then to get better on your own. I thought that shows that there's still some growth to be had. So I feel excited for him, because I think that there might be at least one more level to his play, that if he's shown to be able to continue to improve, that's exciting. And I think Alex is, to keep continuity matters, but only if the player's good. I don't think that the Broncos would have brought him back just for continuity's sake.
Yeah.
Additionally, he is the brains on the field. He's the green dot. He's got to get guys lined up. He's also kind of the heart of that team. I think with everything that he did last year and went through to come back, and I thought he played better after he came back from cancer. I think it's just
he was certainly lighter.
He certainly he leaned a little bit, but he wasn't as heavy. I mean, go to look at the hit on James Cook. That turned the entire game around in that playoff game. If that doesn't happen, Buffalo at least gets 3. It's 17-3 or 21-3. I think that game maybe gets out of hand. And I think from there, he happened to make a lot of those last year. So I feel really good about their inside linebackers, partly because you can't be, it's not the 85 Bears. Like, you can't be that stacked at every single position group. There's got to be somewhere that you can't go as all in, if I were to give that. What we have after that, though, it's interesting. I think you got some guys who, Kieran Reed, I think, is a guy that showed well in special teams. Jordan Turner played really well in the preseason and kind of looks the part. Lavelle Bailey 2 years ago was, I think, a darling at the end of the season. He made some some really good plays. I think we're all excited to see Red Murdoch hit a human being in a Broncos uniform. Question is can he turn and go? And if not, there's places on your team for guys at goal line, and just don't let them get a yard, or hell of a special teamer when all you got to do is run down there and go hit someone. You're playing forward in that. Trevon York, who there's no reason why this guy should be good at football and has been good at football at every level he has played in terms of the position that he's playing. He's not really fast.
There's no reason he's talented.
He's smaller, right? But that's what I mean, physically gifted in the sense of
fair enough.
He was the captain of Texas A&M's defense that had really, really good players, had first round picks, had second, they were stacked, and they played better when he was on the field, and they were significantly worse when he was not. And so he's a guy that I'm excited to see. I feel like if he hangs around, he's going to be that guy that you blink and it's like, how did he end up? He's playing, and they want him to play, not they had to play. So the depth I'm intrigued by the depth. I do not feel great about it. There isn't a guy that I feel like, that's our third guy. I thought it'd be Lavelle Bailey, but I don't know that they think that. So,
JT, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, with those guys, I think they are pretty sound or set right now with Singleton and Stranad. I think I'm intrigued by Kareem Reed. I think that he had a good preseason last year, and again, like Doc said, his special teams play is great. They'll need him, especially if Stranad's moving up into a starting role. I don't know if he'll get as many reps on special teams, so you need someone to kind of step in his place there too. But yeah, I mean, I think after Stranad and Singleton, it's kind of an open, roster spots for the taking. I think, Turner and Bailey have been around for a while. I've got some run with these coaches and this defense, but I think Reed showed that he at least has the mentality and some physical skill. Red Murdoch, I think, like Doc said, we were excited about that pickup in the draft and his upside. And then York, I'm excited about York just to see him out there, just to see how he hangs with, NFL caliber guys. I'm not writing him off yet. Is he a long shot potentially? But if he does enough, I mean, he's definitely the pedigree of player that you want at that position, especially from a leadership and mentality standpoint. So I kind of echo the same sentiment as the doctor, though. We'll have to wait and see. It's not the strongest group on the team, and in fact, it's probably one of the weaker rooms on paper. So it's going to be up to them to kind of battle it out and see who comes out on top. But I think right now you're looking squarely at Singleton and Stranad in that starting unit, and barring some sort of injury.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. For me, I think that the lack of depth is also exciting because I think you're going to see Red Murdoch, and I think you're going to see Torian York get actual run. And some of the younger guys that you guys mentioned, I think will actually get run, and we'll actually see them play. And if, again, kind of like the Nuggets, if they can play, let's get them in there. And if they can't, sounds good. Then we can pivot pretty quickly to somebody else. The other thing I will say about Alex Singleton is that with the NFL going more to 12 personnel, so one running back, two tight ends, I think you want more physical linebackers. And I think that's one of the reasons they brought him back, to say, he may not be able to cover tight ends very well, and going backwards is certainly not his strength, but he's certainly physical enough to take on a tight end in the run game, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So, just as an outsider's spot on it.
Yeah,
well, because they don't ask him to cover. Like a lot of times when he is near, or Saquon Barkley, who's covering Saquon Barkley, but they don't ask him to do that very much. So oftentimes when he's in the vicinity, that's not in Vance's defense. That's not what they wanted. So there's a lot of those things to be had, and I think understanding those things. Your points on nails. It's going heavier again, and with that you can't have 215-pound hybrid linebackers all the time anymore.
Yep.
You got to adjust the league. I think that's a great point.
Right. Going more to that nickel is not going to benefit you at all. So even if you can cover a tight end, they're going to run the ball right at you, and it's going to be a struggle for you one way or the other. So,
yeah, especially if you're going light up front.
Lots of people can cover Saquon Barkley, just for the record, because Jalen Hurts couldn't hit it. So it's fine.
That's right. Well, he did that one time. He did, apparently. That one time. You know, and I think even for maybe I like the exciting part of this, because there's still some pretty big names that are, or guys that are available out on the free agent market. So I think it's just, that is a position where teams will get cheaper at when it comes to the end of training camp, whether it's, you know, trade for a late round draft pick or a cut to be made, as well as there's still some guys hanging around, you know, that could be additions. So they don't have to decide yet. I think let it play out. But yeah, sometimes the unknown is a good thing.
Yep. So let that cream rise. All right, let's stay on the defense and kind of go to that. I'm going to bring it up, but the second cornerback spot. I mean, you've got Jahdae Barron there. You've got Riley Moss there. Let's chat about that, because you got Jaquan Millen playing the nickel. So I think that that cornerback 2 spot is interesting. So what you got, JT?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's set for now. You know, obviously, we all know that Moss struggled a bit at times in coverage last year. He got a little bit grabby, had some penalties called on him. I don't know that he's in danger of losing that spot right away. You know, it's gonna be another kind of feel it out year for him. As far as, you know, is this going to be a long-term fit? You know, you've got Jahdae Barron in the wings, and, you know, presumably he could play outside, even though, you know, kind of when he was drafted, he was more of a considered maybe an inside guy. So we'll see what they think of him in that position. But, you know, the secondary is not really, or at least especially the corners, are a group that I'm excited to just kind of watch them develop through the year. I think at least the doc and I really like Abrams Drain, you know, as an option behind Jaquan. You know, I think that group is pretty set, and I don't know that we'll see a ton of movement unless like what you said, Chris, that quarterback 2, you know, Riley gets too handsy, gets too many beat too many times by some of the top echelon tier guys, especially divisional games. So that is the biggest question mark. But the good thing is you got guys waiting in the wings that I think a lot of fans like, and a lot of the coaches like. So
I have a question for the both of you. Once, Nick, you give your insight on what's going on.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think it stays chalk. I think that they wanted Jahdae to beat out Jaquan, to be honest. That didn't happen. I think Jaquan showed he's probably, in my opinion, is the player that you keep over Riley at this point in time. But when you're in a Super Bowl window, I think that you play the best guys. I don't think that you're playing to develop Jahdae. Jahdae's got to develop while you win. So I think it stays chalk. And I wouldn't be shocked too. Yep, if he's still the first guy up on the outside, and maybe Jahdae gets a look more at the third safety, kind of that more hybrid role. Maybe he's the potential long-term fixture for Brandon Jones, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I think maybe they try and get a little more creative with that, but I think they're pretty set. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out, but I think the way that it ended last year will probably be the way that it starts this year.
Okay, so here's the question, and you kind of addressed it, but if it stays chalk and Jahdae Barron doesn't make or doesn't challenge either Riley Moss or McMillan, how are we feeling about Jahdae Barron, at least at the end of training camp? Is to say, I know we're in a Super Bowl window and you want to like have the best dudes at the best position. Having depth is always nice, but is that concerning to you that it's been 2 years now and he still hasn't made what most people would consider a ton of progress?
Go for it, JT.
I mean, I think it's fine. You know, I think it's tricky. You know, I think when you have a guy waiting in the wings, obviously we want to see him out there on the field and getting live reps. I think they'll find ways to get him in there at least at times in situations where he can be effective. And I think Doc made a good point. You know, Brandon Jones is not inked up beyond this year. Is that something that they're eyeing for Jade? You know, if they like Jaquan and they like the guys that they have in the room, you know, can you move Jade into a position where maybe he hasn't, where people were going to draft him, you know, potentially he was going to be drafted as a safety, you know, with that upside. So it's a guy who comes downhill, tackles well. There's no reason he shouldn't be able to play that position, but it does become a little bit of a, okay, where does this jigsaw puzzle piece fit on this roster? And maybe that means at some point you're moving someone to give them a chance, but you know, I don't feel that bad having him just wait in the wings. You know, you see that with other positions, and it works out okay. Is it risky to a degree? I think so, but it doesn't bother me too much.
Nick?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me if the play stays the same, right? If
Sure.
Jaquan's still balling out, Riley still had the most, was top 3 passes defended. Completion percentage against, he was phenomenal. And so, yep, there were some, my opinion, there were some phantom calls. My man got profiled. It's the one time in life it didn't benefit him to be white. And I mean, that's why you wear long sleeves in 90-degree September weather football. Come on, he was trying to hide it out. But if they play like they did last year, I think it necessarily isn't an indictment on Jade. It is, can't justify taking, you know, maybe the best trio of defensive backs in the NFL right now and tinkering with it. I think if you see a dip in play and he's still not making it, or I do think it's a little bit of an indictment if the third outside corner, he doesn't get that run, or if there's a backup nickel, you know, if it's Reese Taylor like it shows on here, nice, good job for Reese. That's a problem. And if they really break the bank to bring both guys back, Jaquan and Riley,
Yeah,
that's a problem. Then that goes to show you invested in a guy that's not going to be able to get onto the field, and maybe he's worth more to another team. You know, maybe he's a good player, but the fit wasn't as seamless as we thought. But I expect him to contribute. I think he's versatile enough to be able to be on the field. I think that they got to be more creative in how they get there if they value his development. I think that there's ways to do it, especially with how pass happy the league is. You know, being able to be in dime, having him be your third safety. I think with what's on paper right here, I think Devon Key is a nice story. I think JL Skinner hasn't done it. Miles Scott probably needs some time. You know, I feel way better about Jade being a guy that rotates in with the safety group and the corner group based on his experience. Again, he won the Doak Walker, not the Doak Walker, sorry. The what's the other one? Thank you. Yeah, that guy, Jim Thorpe, great player. Over Travis Hunter, and you know, there's a reason why he was in that conversation. So I think finding out what he does well and giving him opportunities to shine, I think the team has to do it for. You got to find out if he's, you can save $20 million by letting Riley go, or find out if you can't, and you got to pay Riley 20 and trade Jade. But I'm not done on Jade. I think I also think he's a team guy. I haven't heard him whining and crying in the press about not getting on the field and those kind of things. I think he's a mature cat, and so I'm still on the Jade. I'm okay with Jade if he doesn't break the starting lineup without injuries being an issue by the end of the year. But that's because they're still a top 5 secondary. I think you leave it be. And I expect that the Riley will go at the end of the year. You probably bring in a vet or another draft pick, you know, second round, but something to compete with Jade for the spot next year. And that's when the judging will occur.
Okay. All right. I will say if he doesn't make a play that's bigger than the role he has, I do have an eyebrow raised. So
yeah.
I will simply say that. Like, I'm a huge Jade Barron fan. I think he's really good. But if he's not developed more than he has, and he's now in his second year in the league, for me, that's an eyebrow raise and being like, okay, you have 2 free agents like both of you mentioned, Brandon Jones and Riley Moss. If you end up having to pay those guys, that's a bad sign to me. So
Yeah,
That I agree with.
I think
Yeah.
that's
For as much as I really like both of them,
Yep.
paying that much to your secondary when you had a first round pick on the bench, it's
concerning.
it's
Okay,
not-
all right,
it's not great.
all right. Do we want to move to the offense?
All right. Yeah, let's do.
What'd you say? Sorry.
Let's do.
But we're moving to the
Well-
offense.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Let's move to the offense.
What do we think? I
So,
think tight end's probably
I think-
the biggest.
I think the biggest thing for me is going to be. Is it? Is it?
Kind of.
I mean, I want it to be. I would love for these gentlemen in the
Purple.
pink or whatever, purple. I love Jolie to be a guy. I love Dallin Bentley to be a guy. Because I don't know. I guess it depends on if Jolie gets his face in there and can make some blocks. I think that you press Nate Atkins or you press Lucas Kroll off of the roster. Because Evans more valuable to you than the cap space he would clear. He's not going. Adam Troutman just got re-signed. He's not going. So I don't. It's like not an exciting thing right now, but it is like I feel like it's kind of what it is. I bet Bentley is a practice squatter. I think loner.
I have a
super
super
pumped.
postulation for you, real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah.
What happens? Is it possible? What percentage chance would you put that maybe Dallas Bentley is the third tight end and Jolie is on the practice squad?
What do I think the likelihood of that is?
Yeah, likelihood, and what do you think?
Yeah. I think partly because teams and fan bases value their own players more than the NFL does. And the NFL looks at it as like they would rather keep their released players on their practice squad or 53-man. But I do think Jolie, I think there's a better likelihood that he would get picked up off of waivers than Bentley. That said, if it worked out that way, which I think it could, I think Bentley is probably more well-rounded in terms of at least what I've seen at his ability to block.
That was
he had
my
really
thought
good-
process when
Yeah.
talking about this.
Yeah.
I think Bentley's a little bit more well-rounded and he can do different
Yeah.
things. If like Evan Ingram goes down or if Adam Troutman goes down, he could maybe fill in for either one of those.
Yes.
Slowly, he's not filling in for Troutman.
He's not, and I don't know with Nate Atkins. Atkins is more of, he is more of the H-back move. He can block, but it's much more like whole, a secondary point of attack. I really like that. I think my hope would be they figure out a way to keep them both. And with the shuttling up on the practice squad, I expect whoever's on the practice squad to get shuttled up quite a bit and probably be on the active roster by the end of the year. Atkins has gotten hurt quite a bit over the last few years, and then Lucas Kroll missed most of last year, and Loner has been hurt most of the off season. So I think if there's an opportunity right now, it's them, and with Bentley being an older cat, and coming from the Utah schools, I assume that there will be some more maturity, and with that, I think maybe that closes some of the gap. If that room ended, after cuts, it's Troutman, Ingram, Jolie, and Bentley. I would be a little shocked, but I would be excited for that. I think that shows that they feel good enough about Bentley's blocking and Jolie's route running, that they're moving forward with that. And so that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, JT, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I've got too much to add. I think there's a good chance Bentley could be the guy over Jolie. Just I think from an upside, I think Bentley's got a little bit more potentially. But I think as long as one of those guys hits and is serviceable, then you're happy with those picks. Unfortunately, the expectation of those guys to be guys to come in and actually give you something this year is probably pretty low. But there is an open window, an open door for them to come in and make a splash. If they can be explosive in the passing game, if they can kind of provide some sort of dynamic that the Broncos don't currently have, there's a possibility with the new offensive coordinator that they're looking for someone to stretch the field a little bit more, looking for someone to receive the ball a little bit more from that position. So I wouldn't put it out of the question, but I think that, it would be hard to picture that right now. I think both are pretty developmental guys. So we'll see. I like both guys. I'm rooting for both guys to make some sort of impact, but obviously it's going to be a crowded room, especially the back end of that room. It's going to be scheme fit and really, what do you want to run on a down-to-down basis and who can kind of hang in that scheme. So it'll be difficult for someone to make their mark, but I like both guys. I was excited about the potential of both guys. So we'll watch them battle it out.
Yeah, I still believe Bentley still needs way more work in the blocking game. I think he's more of a receiving tight end in general, but I think he's bigger and has more skills than Joey does. So I would imagine that getting on the field is a lot easier for Bentley than it is maybe for Joey. So the draft capital is. I know that Joey was a 5th round pick, but I think we're still talking about a day 3 tight end that's not. That still has work to be done.
I mean,
especially if you think Bentley can help you win today, right? Like,
correct.
Is losing Jolie going to ruin this team's trajectory over the next decade? Right. Like, that's not what we're giving up on. I would be a little sad. I'm a Jolie stain. That said, I really like Bentley. I thought that was a great 7th round pick to be able to get him in. They didn't want him to get to be a UDFA, and I think with that they saw that he has the opportunity to stick. They wanted him here, so that says a ton too.
All right, what position next? What would you guys like to chat about?
Well, I think we haven't really talked about like the wide receiver shares, right? So you bring in Jalen Waddle, you got Cortland Sutton cracking the top 100, baby.
Yes, he did.
Well deserved. You have Marvin Mims, who makes plays. You got Pat Bryant, who he doesn't make plays. He does. Ask Buffalo. Ask Cincinnati. You could ask Dallas, but everyone made plays against them.
Right.
You got Pat.
You're playing against third graders. Congratulations.
You got Troy. You got Troy Franklin. You got the Binky, Lil Jordan, and I think you got some sneaky. One, they got to fix some of these numbers for some of these guys, but Colby Katzis he's that under the lower level receiver that just kills everybody, and then Akeem Butler, who I think physically
he's interesting.
He towers over Lil Jordan, and Lil Jordan is not little, and so that little is just funny that it's that. But they got is it slam dunks? It's not George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb talent all over, which I would say is you got 2 alpha receivers, but they got guys who can win deep. You got guys who can like Marvin, who can line up in the backfield. You got possession guys. You got there's a lot of, I think, talented guys and only one football. So the shares break out here for the wide receiver room, gents.
I think I'm more excited to see what Pat Bryant and what Troy Franklin bring. I don't think they like Marvin Mims as much as maybe we do. I think every single time he has, quote unquote, the breakout game, we don't see him for 2 weeks. And I don't know if that's because they're specifically designing plays or packages for him and against specific opponents, but that doesn't get you paid in the NFL. Like they're not going to keep him just to keep him. So I would expect Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant to kind of be that third guy. So I think it's going to be a lot of Cortland Sutton, a lot of Jalen Waddle. Like I said earlier, I think it's going to be more 12 personnel where you see Troutman and Ingram on the field at the same time when Ingram's healthy. And it's going to be Waddle, Sutton, Troutman, and Ingram. And that's going to be your 3. And then you rotate in either Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant is my understanding. of how that's going to go.
Yeah.
GT's
I mean, I think the wide receiver 3 spot is intriguing because I don't think, I think rightfully Troy Franklin's in there right now. I still struggle a little bit with Troy Franklin. Just his catch rate is not great. He drops some balls. He's a problem that I had with these kind of auxiliary guys last year, or the third or fourth guys last year with Franklin and Mims and Lil Jordan, is that we had too many drop balls. And that was a concern for me coming into the draft. I was hoping they were going to target someone in the draft that, had good hands. Obviously they made the Waddle trade, so I'm happy about that. But I think Pat Bryant is your next guy in line to really crack that third wide receiver spot. I think that he is, they drafted him for a reason. They want him to be in that spot. Obviously, Franklin and Bo Nix have a good rapport from being college teammates. I'm not counting him out. And I think there's some things he does well. He had some good plays last year. He had some explosive plays last year. But I would be really interested to see if Pat Bryant by the end of camp or by the end, week 5, 6, somewhere in there is kind of pushing for that third wide receiver spot and maybe surpassing Franklin. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. I think Mims, obviously, I like what Mims brings to the table, but I don't know if maybe there's a little bit of redundancy with Waddle now, a guy who can stretch the field, who actually can line up on the outside and win in those situations. I think that makes Mims less valuable. It's probably the reason he hasn't gotten paid up to this point. And so, I think, like Chris said, maybe the writing's on the wall for him. Can you still use him? Will we still use him? Absolutely. There will be opportunities and situations specifically that they put in the game plan for him. But, I think I'm really looking at Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin come, like I said, week 6, 7, somewhere in there. Maybe there's a change at that position, maybe not, but I think those guys will be neck and neck.
Yeah, just to kind of, I'm excited for this room because I think this is really where the cream is going to rise. I think Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin are going to battle it out, and I think that. And I'm a big fan of Hakeem Butler. I'm super excited to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah.
I think he's matured a little bit in his journey. So I think it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. So, but yeah, it's not that I don't. Let me be very clear. It's not that I don't like Marvin Mims, but I think the team is just not interested in him. And it may be the fact that he's
like you do.
Okay. Well, that's Nick's perspective, and it's valid. But But again, I think Marvin Mims. I think maybe he's just not a good practice player. Where he doesn't do the things right in practice, so therefore he doesn't get run consistently on the field. So
yeah, yep.
So that's
I think there's a lot of
those other guys though.
Precision in practice is not there.
Yeah,
it has to be that because when he plays and he gets targeted, he does good things. So I do think having a quarterback that's 6'2" and not 6'5", being able to see Marvin is harder. And why, he fancies, you got Troy, who's 6'2", you got Pat Bryant, 6'2", you got Court, who's 6'4". I don't know about you. I played quarterback as the shorter gentleman, shorterish. And throwing it to the guys that were taller was much easier for me. Just saying.
But doesn't that lead you to he should be throwing it to bigger players, so therefore like Adam Troutman and Evan Ingram should be more productive than they were? I mean, they
should be 100%.
Okay. It's just, again,
but that's because they don't utilize the middle of the field well. Bo doesn't. I'm just saying those to me might be all contributors. So if Marvin is not a precise route runner, so I can't trust exactly that you're going to be right there. Like, if I put it on Cortland in that area and he runs a little bit, it's you got a little bit more. I don't feel like I'm going to throw a pick. Yeah, I'm not going to throw a pick if I throw it to Court or to Pat, no matter where I throw it. I feel pretty good about that.
They've got a bigger catch.
Yeah, and what's weird though is like look at the 2 touchdowns right against Cincinnati yesteryear, right? I mean Marvin won a jump ball in between 2 dudes to like tie that game up. So there's like data that shows that isn't true, but again,
he's got talent.
You gotta trust it and feel it. I think Pat is your long-term Cortland insurance. I think that they really like Troy. I think Troy's the 3, and I think Marvin is your Jalen. Again, the redundancy. For as much as I like Marvin, Jalen is a better football player.
Yep.
And if I have a jet sweep or a bubble screen, I would rather it go to Jalen.
Yep.
But I do think maybe the targets are gonna flatten out amongst like those 3 guys maybe a little bit more. Each of them gets 30 to 40 catches instead of it being a lot to 1 or 2, and then meh. I think what'll be interesting is you have those players who they could have a bright future in the NFL, whether it's here or not.
Yeah.
But then you are paying Adam Troutman, what is it, like $6-8 million? Evan Ingram, who you're paying 13, and who has shown, at least in his look at the Washington game. I mean, they put Bobby Wagner in a spin cycle. So there's things there to like, and there's only one football. And so and RJ Harvey, who is 7 receivers. There are guys that can do good stuff, and you need them to be able to do that to continue to grow. That to me is going to be the interesting thing, while all trying to run the football more, right? Which we've heard all over. That to me is going to be interesting. Is do the tight ends get froze out again, and you feed the receivers because they're your long-term play, or does Evan finally eat, and then doing so, Marvin has 9 catches.
Yep.
I got to run. I got kids to pick up from basketball, so I'm going to bump out real quick.
Yeah. Go do your thing.
Good time. Sorry, guys. Got to get these kids.
Yep.
Right.
Later, y'all.
Heard if you don't get them.
All righty.
Nobody will.
Yeah, it's just again with the offensive coordinator change. It's a good point that all this may change. So, but I think they brought Jalen Waddle in for a reason, and I think he and Cortland are going to eat. So I'm more expected to be the 12 personnel than maybe a slot receiver. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. You've got a lot of younger options there that I think will either introduce themselves, or we will know very quickly that they just are not going. They're just going to be dudes. So
yeah. It's but that's why they play the game and all the stuff. And sadly, I think Marvin is more valuable to this team on trying to win a Super Bowl than he is a 4th round pick or something that they could get on another team. Feel bad for Marvin because it doesn't really help his pocketbook, but the team has to do its best for them. And, and that happens to be Jalen Waddle.
Well, and again, maybe Marvin Mims becomes that, trade candidate that we use to, the Miami Dolphins he would be their wide receiver 1 at the moment. So,
100%.
So I don't think that should be discounted. So
there's that. I think there's a ton of guys, and especially because Marvin's young. I don't think he even turned 24 yet.
Yeah. You're right.
You're getting a guy who, especially if you brought him in and gave him an extension, if you believe in him, it's not going to break the bank because he hasn't put up the numbers. We give him some security, probably can grow into it. Like you said, if you went to a team like Miami, that's going to be their 1, right? Or Carolina, or
Carolina's still got
most
Ted
of the South teams probably. They have Ted, but they have Ted.
I will say this: I think D-Rock is right. I think Cortland's going to eat this year. I think we're going to do a fantasy episode one of these Wednesday afternoons, so you can tune in for that. And I don't want to give too much away, but I'm super high on Cortland Sutton this year because I think the introduction to Jalen Waddle will open up a lot of paths for him. So I'm excited to see what he can do this year.
Yeah. It'll when you're not the dude that they're all worried about all the time.
Yeah,
probably it's going to be nice. That's why Klay Thompson was such a good player.
Yep, absolutely. Do we want to do one more? Yeah, do we want to do one more?
It's interesting because I think that the running back room, really, Jonah is your JK insurance. I think RJ has his particular thing. The line is as set as it's going to be. I think maybe if there were any other realm to discuss would be just how the defensive line snaps go. I really like Malcolm. He never really has been a first team 60% of the snaps guy. I believe. But a lot of youth behind it. You got Savion Jones, who you got in 3rd round last year. Taylor Onyedem, who you got in the 3rd round this year, and Inio Razarique, who is large, and long-limbed. And so I think it'll be good for those guys to about training camp. I think that will be the 3 guys in a position group that will be the most interesting to me, because they all, to be honest, they all kind of have a stake to that claim of like being the JFM replacement, if you will. But none of them has a clear path to it, because each of them has each other in the way. So that part, I think I'm super pumped about, and can't wait for that group to get out there. But I think all of those guys should be contributors for sure.
I'm going to ask you one question before we maybe go. Viking and Jay brought this up on their Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast last night. Is the backup quarterback issue, especially with Bo Nix coming back from an injury?
Yeah.
How do we feel about the backup quarterbacks, the Stidham and the Sam Erling experiment? I feel terrible about it. I think those guys cannot play. So,
yeah, I mean, my opinion is if you lose Bo Nix, you lose their seasons. I mean, we saw. Could Stiddy beat the Raiders? Sure, maybe. You know, some games like that could keep you in. I think that last year that has to be like the other than the Super Bowl has to be the hardest. Well, even the Super Bowl, you have 2 weeks to prepare. And no blizzard. Like that had to be literally the worst, like the worst makeup. For that, and you know, he's one stupid pass or backwards pass away from playing the Super Bowl, probably, which it wouldn't have went well. But you know what? I'm fine with it. What I think is interesting is I do think that there is a case to be had about Ellinger and Stidham, but I think both of those guys are there because of how good the room is, not because of how good those 2 guys are, and what that does for Bo Nix, his learning and his development. Because in the end, that's the horse that you're riding. If those guys help bring him up and help him learn and create a healthy environment, right? Not like Bo Nix would be out partying and all the stuff, but if those guys kind of spend time together in a really productive and positive way, then you're really investing in the room. You're not investing in the player, you know. And I think that is probably it. I don't know that there were a lot of better options that I would want to go out and go get, but because I think if Bo Nix goes down for an extended period of time,
your season's done.
Done. And
that is not uncommon. I mean, you know, Howard Mudd, it was Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator for the Colts back in the day, had a saying where the reporter came up and asked him, it's like, hey, why is 18 getting all the snaps? 18 being Peyton Manning, for those of you who don't know. And he goes, if Peyton Manning goes down, it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. We're tanked. So, but he said it in more colorful language. I cleaned it up for.
Yeah. I mean, when you put everything, you put everything into the basket of this team, and especially I think it'll be even more centralized around Bo Nix because of Davis, Webb, and you know, and I think the more that you do that, it's Pat Mahomes, right? Pat Mahomes went down. I don't care who your backup was or is, a game or two, sure. Like you can try and you split them. You know, you don't lose too much ground. I think that's really what you're asking from Jared Stidham. You're not asking him to continue to keep riding the ship all the way to a Super Bowl. You're just keep us competitive so we have an opportunity to make the playoffs again still. When our guy comes back, if our guy isn't going to come back,
you might as well tank for
run the ball a lot and see if Jonah develops. Like if we're running a triple option.
Yeah, I think it's just important to point out that, like, you know, Gary Kubiak, Bubby Brister, Brock Osweiler, those guys are not walking through that door. So it just is what it is. If Bo Nix doesn't come back or gets hurt for an extended period of time, I think we can just, you know, kind of say sayonara to the 2026 season, which sucks. But not an unusual position to be in.
No, so. And you know, there's 20 good NFL quarterbacks right now, probably, which is a lot more than it had been. You know, and that's 12 serviceable guys that are high-end backups / low-end starters, and they're all taken. And then, you know, you're really rolling the dice with what's left or who's left.
Yep. I think it would have been nice if they'd brought in
drafted a guy high.
Yeah, I think it would have been more comfortable if it's maybe bringing in another camp arm just to compete, but no.
Yeah. I'm always of the draft a guy. You never know. But I bet, their answer is you want Bo getting most of the reps and probably Sam getting the next. I do think it'll be interesting just to see how Stidham and Elland look. Because I think there's some real fans of Ellinger on the staff. He's I think more athletic. So probably closer to Bo Nix.
I agree.
And so, that'll be interesting. Could Stiddy win? Could he go 2-2 over a 4-game stretch? Especially when you have Jalen Waddle, I think, and guys like that who, if you're throwing short intermediate routes, I think it depends on the lineup. But is he going to go on a Brock Osweiler run? No, probably not. Probably not. And I think if you're expecting that, I think you're not really understanding how the teams are rostered.
How
playing quarterback in the NFL is hard.
Right.
And guy's not playing. He's not playing for years, right? He threw 20 passes in the championship game or whatever it was. And that was all that's the most action he's got since, other than the preseason in 2.5 years. It's not an enviable spot to be in, nor do you plan on being there because of the salary cap. You can't pay guys what they should get to be in that role. And so, to be honest, that shouldn't be a part of your real planning. You hope a guy can do enough. Can he run an offense? Sure. And then you hope. I
just want to know what Kendall Hinton is doing. That's all I have. That's what I want to know.
So. Kendall, what you doing, bro?
Right.
He's probably running a base. Smart dude, Wake Forest grad. He's probably got some good things going on off the field.
All right.
But love it. Well, he's a realtor, actually, North Carolina. Just so you know.
There you are.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a side hustle.
Everyone needs a side hustle. For JT, hopefully you got there in time to pick up nephews because it's important. My main man, Chris, appreciate you spending some time with us. We'll see you 100%. Same time next week. Script.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My High Sports Symposium, let the good times flow.